We're in search of a song, and today that search has led us to Lindy Urban. Thanks for coming by, Lindy.
Of course, I'm happy to be here.
Very good. I think everybody likes music to some degree, different types. But do you remember when you thought, maybe I like it more than the average person?
Well, I think I've liked it more than the average person since I was in my mother's womb.
Yeah.
She would go to concerts when I was, she was carrying me, and I would kick, and we would be in church, and everybody would be singing, and I would start, moving around. And then I've been singing since I was literally a baby. I would sing myself to sleep.
Yeah.
She would say I would just coo and sing, just to relax myself, And then when I was a baby, like a young, toddler, I had a little bouncy seat.
Yeah.
And then it kind of I don't know what they're called, but it would coast, Yeah. So I say Mickey Mouse was on, or children's show, and the music would start playing, and then I would start keeping time when I was a few months old.
Very good.
But when I actually started playing music, I was 9 years old, and then I started taking voice lessons. I've never had a guitar lesson in my life, but I feel like vocal lessons is something that everybody needs to have, just to know how to use your voice so you don't damage it. But I've always had an interest in music. I always loved it. But I got really serious about it at 9 years old, and I picked up ukulele. And that's where I started. So I started playing that, and I got pretty good at it really quickly. And I'll tell you what made me take an interest in that. It's a funny thing. When I was 8, I woke up one day and I was like, I have to get baptized. I have to do it. I said, I'm getting baptized in the river just like Jesus did. And we've got the same river. So I get baptized, and that's when I start taking an interest in music. And I think I received the singing river as well as the Holy Spirit, you know what I mean? So that's when I started taking an interest in music. And then, like I said, I moved on to ukulele. And then when I was 12, I moved on to guitar. And then I've been playing ever since then.
So how did you learn to play the guitar? You said you didn't take a lesson.
YouTube, most of it, and then just kind of, I don't know, I think I had a knack for it, so I kind of took it upon myself to, teach myself the rest.
Yeah.
Especially now, I can play mostly by ear. I can hear pretty much anything and just, play it. And that's, I don't know, it's just kind of ingrained in me. I've put a lot of time and effort into my skill, but I think a lot of it's God-given, and then, but yeah, I started probably with YouTube, and that's where most of my knowledge comes from.
Very good. So, were there influences around? I mean, of course, famous people, and also maybe a local person or anything like that?
Yeah, I've actually got some records.
There you go. Yeah, have some props.
Yeah, so if this tells you anything, I brought, let's see, this is a best of album, but it doesn't make it any less amazing. Of course, this is Aretha Franklin, and it's got some of her greatest hits. I Never Loved a Man, which Spinner Oldham played on, which is one of my biggest influences around here. I love that man to death. He's also my cousin, your cousin, so of course, because everybody in Alabama is related, So that's that. Stevie Ray Vaughan, Texas Flood album. This album. It's so influential in so many ways, and it's timeless. Like Lenny, that's such a beautiful song, and it's just instrumental. I don't know, if you haven't heard this album, you've heard Pride and Joy, of course. Everybody's heard that song, but this album is amazing. And let's see, Melanie Safka, she played at Woodstock. This is her Stone Ground Words album, Together Alone, Between the Road Signs. Stone Ground Words, of course. Beautiful, beautiful record. I love this record. It takes you to a time and place that I don't know that's ever existed. It was like something that just came out of her own world, This is another melody, and these were something that I just grabbed as I was running out the door, so it was off the top of my head. This is the Gather Me album. Little Bit of Me is one of my favorite songs. I love that song. Steppin' is beautiful. This is a gorgeous, gorgeous record as well. She's got her melodies are so amazing. They're like nothing you'll ever hear. They're so whimsical. And this is the Bad Company Run with the Pack album. This is an amazing record. I love this one. Do Right By Your Woman is beautiful. And then Live for the Music is, of course, that's great. Young Blood, Sweet Little Sister, it's a great record. I love this one. And, of course, it's vintage, so you get somebody's name written on the back of it, which is lovely. I love that, because it tells such a story, you know. And this is the Allman Brothers Band Win, Lose, or Draw album. And oh my god. Oh, I love this record. Can't Lose What You Never Had. One of my favorite songs of all time. Genuinely. And then High Falls, it's like a 15-minute song. And it's amazing. And I think it's all instrumental. Like there's, like nobody's even singing. And it's amazing. Like you could listen to it all day, every day. It's just lovely. Sweet Mama. That's a good one off this one too. Which all Allman Brothers records are amazing. This is a new one. And I don't listen to much new stuff, but this one is amazing. And anything from Greta Van Fleet is absolutely just astronomically good. So otherworldly. There is not a bad song on this record, or any of these. But for this to be new is just something. It's just something. Fate of the Faithful, Waited All Your Life, also one of my favorite songs. The Falling Skies, I mean, there's not, like I said, not a bad one on here. And this one, I'm going to show you the inside, because it came in different prints. So the record is actually pressed in different colors, and this one is clear, and it has glitter in it. Which, I've never been much for glitter, but this doesn't move around, and it doesn't get everywhere. So, I have the black one as well, because of course I had to get two of the same thing. It's just, they're so pretty. And I've got, of course, all of their albums. If I can get this back in its sleeve. You want me to do that for you? Yeah. There you go. This one is Johnny Winter, Third Degree. And if you haven't heard this, you are missing out. I love Johnny Winter. Love him so much. This has Mojo Boogie. Mojo Boogie, oh my god. Amazing. Tin Pan Alley. I love his version of Tin Pan Alley. It's so cool. I'm Good. That's another one. Third Degree. Oh, if you haven't heard that. I mean, this is such a good record. Such a good one. And this next one, probably top 3 favorite albums of all time. It's Stephen Stills with Manassas. And this is original as well. So isn't that awesome? It's a double record. And let me open it up to see what's all the songs, because there's like, I think 20 songs or something on here. A Song of Love is amazing. Jet Set. What? Oh, once again, one of my favorite songs. I chose some of my favorite records. Colorado, that's a good one. It Doesn't Matter. Johnny's Garden. Oh, what a lovely song. The Love Gangster. That one's really cool. And then Blues Man. I really love that one. But this is an amazing record. Amazingly done. And I got this at, if you're a Muscle Shoals native, or, area, Muscle Shoals area, you'll know of Vinyl Junkies. He had Mark Sandlin. He had a vinyl day where a bunch of vendors came to his shop and set up in the back and sold records. And this one I got for $10. And it's original, and it's a double record, and it's in perfect condition, and I listen to it all the time. I love this record. Let's see. I think this is my last one, and of course you can't go wrong with Zeppelin. Zeppelin 2 is my favorite record of theirs. I love it. I love this record. It's so weird, and it's so cool, and they used a bunch of, like, old blues artists. Like, the Women's song was a Howlin' Wolf song that I think they may have stolen. But it's cool nonetheless. I mean, you'll know every song on this record. And it never gets worse. It always just gets better the more you listen to it. And this one's new, unfortunately. I don't like to get the new ones, the 180 grams, but I got it anyway because they're very expensive when you try to get them vintage. But I do plan to get all of the Zeppelin records vintage soon, one day. I've got all of the Zeppelin records except maybe 2 or 3. So, I don't know. I'm a big Zeppelin fan. And then locally, of course, those are all the records I brought. But, of course, Spooner Oldham, and he's near and dear to my heart. Martin Armour, once again, my cousin. Getting a call, sorry. Martin Armour. Moon Over Georgia. What I love about Sundays, of course, you can't go wrong with him. He's amazing. I've never seen somebody play a keyboard like that. It's amazing. And his voice is so booming, and it's so bluesy. He can do anything. He can sing the phone book, I swear. I don't know, maybe I love Cassidy McCorkle. She's a good friend of mine. I'm actually playing with her at the Lava Room April 23rd, if you want to come to that. She's amazing. She's a little country singer. She's got this bluegrassy high voice and it's beautiful. There's too many local artists to name that are so. Trey Nichols, I mean, he's amazing. He's something else. Incredibly talented. I mean, there are a bunch of people around here that I absolutely adore.
So, you like all this music. What compelled you to start writing your own songs?
I've been making up songs my whole life. So I don't think it's ever been a conscious decision to write. It just has been, you know.
Yeah.
Like, when I was growing up, I'd go over to my grandparents' house, and they had a long hallway off the living room. So I'd bring my Nana a flashlight, and then I'd turn all the lights down, and she had a little walking pole on her hearth, and I'd get that, and I'd go down the hall, and I'd get in the dress-up clothes, of course. So I'd dress up, right, and then I'd get that walking stick, and I'd go down the hallway, and I'd turn all the lights down, and then I'd have her turn that on, and I said, "Call me out now." And then I'd walk into the living room, and of course the flashlight was my spotlight. And then I would make up a song on the fly, and then sometimes I'd get my papa to play guitar for me. Speaking of which, he taught me my first guitar chords on his 1956 ES-175 that it's a Gibson, that we got at Forbes Music in Florence.
Go ahead and call that man's name.
Harold Walt.
Harold Walt.
Oh God, he's one of my favorite people on this planet, and gosh, I mean, nobody compares to my papa, you know. He taught me my first guitar chords on that guitar, which has now been passed to me, thankfully. He paid for that. He bought it when he was 13, and he's 80 now, and that guitar is in mint condition. And he paid for it picking cotton. He went up to Forbes Music from, where did he live? Elgin. He lived in Elgin. To Florence, and that was in 1950s, when he was 13, picking cotton, of course, so he was making nothing. So he went up there with his mother, which, you know, was quite a trek. I mean, it was about 20 minutes. Which for them, you know, is quite a ways, especially when you don't have anything. And his mother vouched for him that he would pay the guitar back, and he did. And it took him till he was 18 and married. And he wouldn't let anybody touch it. He'd tell me every time gosh, like when he was growing up, he was in band and school and stuff, and he would compete in little competitions that they'd have around, and he wouldn't let anybody touch him. People would say, "Can I play your guitar?" He's like, "Nope, can't do it." And I remember every time I would go over there when I was little, and just growing up, I don't think there was a time that I went over there and didn't get his guitar out of his closet. And I'd come up missing, and they knew where I was. I would go in his bedroom, and I'd dig that guitar out of the closet, and I'd haul it down the hall. And when I was little, I remember how heavy that felt. It was amazing. And I'll never forget that feeling, how it smelled. And then I would walk into the living room, and I'd just sit down on the floor, and I'd play that guitar. He said, "Be so careful." And then he told me the story of how he got it, and how old he was, and where he got it, and how his Mama Ruth would vouch for him, and all this. And she was a good woman. I never had the pleasure of meeting her, but I feel like I have because I've heard all the stories about her. But yeah, that guitar holds a special place in my heart, and I wish I had brought it today so I could show you all. But it's a beautiful, beautiful guitar, beautiful piece of history as well. And like I haven't even changed the strings since I got it in 2022, because those are the strings he played, you know. And they're actually in good shape. I mean, things were made differently back then, you know. I mean, those are not the original strings, but I mean, they're old. They're older than me.
Well, what song are you going to do for us today?
It's called "Ain't Bound Now," which is kind of hard to say. It's a song I wrote back in November, I believe. And I've gone through a really big life change recently, and it's kind of just a song about being set free. And it's a really upbeat, bluesy sort of song, and I think it's cool.
You've wrote several songs. Is there a place people could go to hear your music if they wanted to?
Well, I need to work on getting some music out, and that will be coming soon, maybe within this year. Hopefully within this year. But if you want to hear me right now, you can catch me at Lindy Urban Music on Instagram and Facebook. And my website is Lindy Urban Music, and you can keep up with everything I do there. My link tree is attached, and my press kit, and all those sorts of things. But if you want to catch me live, you will see that on all of my social media, which is at Lindy Urban Music.
Very good. Well, thanks for coming by, and let's hear that song.
So uninspired. What in the world has got you acting this way? I don't think I know that you're not thinking straight. So tell me what's going on. I've been down here all too long. Your shame, have you just pushed it down, or has it just gone away? What in the world has happened to your mind? Have you pulled and lost it?